We're back at Springy Performance for another dyno night. Now, Judo, we've got some older cars and some unique cars here. Have you seen some of the cars in the car park there? More importantly, we've got some LSs. First to run his car tonight, Aidan's Evo. I've seen this car quite a few times now. Very nice build, mate. This is actually an Evo 2, not a 3, even though it looks like a 3. It is an Evo 2. You've actually just completed, I almost say, a rebuild of the entire engine bay, haven't you?
Yeah, it's pretty much been a ground up rebuild. It was a 2-litre setup for a long time. During COVID, I had the opportunity to send it away. I wasn't allowed to drive it, so we put the 2.3 bottom end in. Everything else in the setup's the same, but the goal was to make something really drivable. Not overly interested in quarter mile times, so the idea was to have something that I could enjoy on the street and the missus could jump in and enjoy it as well. You
wanted to make, I think your goal was about 350 kilowatts, but make it responsive to drive, not one of these lag monsters.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just come off the dyno at 350.
Yeah,
and it's done it pretty easy. You said it was only on about 24, 25 pounds, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I think it's done it pretty easily. On the 2-litre setup, we're around 330, but pushing in a lot more boost in. So yeah, I think it's ticked all the boxes that we're after.
You've also got one problem with this platform is the factory gearbox does not like this kind of power. It'll just strip third and fourth gear pretty much.
I've proven that before.
Yeah. You've done a nice upgrade in this through Neat gearboxes, haven't you?
Yep, so Sam from Neat's put the gearbox together. It is a synchro engagement box still with a straight cut third and fourth. It's got the 4-spider centre differential and a CAS front diff as well.
So it's still nice to drive on the street being a full synchro box, that's awesome.
Yeah, more or less feels like a stock box to drive. The clutch is a little bit of fun, but we'll work with that.
This manifold?
So they're called BS Fab from the USA.
And it's running a stock frame turbo from an Australian company.
Yep, so that's been manufactured in Melbourne. It's a ball bearing turbo based on the stock frame. It'll bolt onto a factory turbo manifold.
That's awesome. We've got Dean's MPS Mazda 3. I remember when these came out, these were probably the quickest, one of the quickest front wheel drives going around.
Hot hatches, yeah,
absolutely. And unfortunately, Mazda never went on with it, did they?
No, and they sort of cooked it with the front wheel drive, no one was really interested in them.
Because they were a little bit heavy, I think, weren't they?
I think stock trim about 1460.
Yeah.
And then they did the 6, which is all-wheel drive.
Yes.
But they're nearly 2 tonnes, so you kind of got to choose what you want.
Yeah. And your one, obviously, I saw your spec list either. It's got a fair bit of power.
Yeah, so it hasn't been dynoed with this motor. Blew the stock motor up. So the tuner's actually based in America. And what you do is you use an access port, hit log, do a pull on a private road.
Okay.
Send him the log.
So it's still a 2.3 or?
2.3, yeah, and he tweaks it. So he's run it through like a virtual dyno, just to give you an idea. And across 6 or 7 runs now, averages like high 395 to 408 kilowatts.
Yeah,
so
wow, okay.
It'll be interesting to see what it actually makes on rollers.
These were factory top mount intercooler, weren't they?
Correct, yeah. So this one's been changed to front mount, purely because heat soak on the top mount's not great.
So these, am I right, did these have port injection factory or they're just?
No, so they're direct injected.
Yep.
So it's still running the direct injection, then we've added
added port in.
1050cc, and there's an E85 fuel cell in the boot. Cruising here at 98, and then on boost, the E85 will start spraying. So you get the best of both worlds.
So you get a bit better fuel economy.
Yeah, you don't have to worry, like people stopping every servo to get fuel, you don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, doing that though, it sounds good, but there's more things to go wrong.
I could imagine.
But you don't really have a choice, it's just what you have to do.
So what have you got, some pistons and rods in it or?
Yeah, so fully built motor, Manly pistons and rods, ported head, bigger valve springs, balance shaft in the sump, or on the crank's been deleted.
So the factory gearboxes are pretty strong?
Stock gearbox, yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
Don't really launch, one being front wheel drive.
Yeah.
It doesn't hook anyway, so you're just going to break shit, so we don't worry about it. Obviously, twin disc clutch, different manifolds now, full turbo back, bigger turbo obviously. It's a pretty, I call it like a cookie cutter, so it's a basic set of parts that works well.
Works well.
Like the guys in America go absolutely nuts with these.
Yep.
So you kind of just follow in their footsteps, and it's like, it's a proven setup.
It makes sense, doesn't it? You know what you're going to get before you start. Yeah.
Correct. So you go, say I want 500 horsepower or whatever, then you can sort of set what you want to do and what you need to buy. So the turbo is made by a company called Corksport.
Yep.
So they pretty much only make MPS parts, but the equivalent would be like a 3076.
Yep. You got some headers on there too?
Yeah, so XS manifold, sheet metal intake manifold as well. Still stock gearbox, stock throttle body, stock cams, because I wanted it to still drive like a Mazda 3. I obviously don't daily it, but I wanted it to not be a complete pig of a thing.
Yep.
Stock cams, again, with the American guys, like it's good for about 600 wheels, so I only wanted 500. If I can get that, that's good.
Well, if you take off the American,
that is true.
The 600 is probably a genuine 500, isn't it?
So like you don't need cams unless you want it lumpy and just
I don't think you need more than 500 horsepower in a front wheel drive, do you?
If I was to do it again, my last setup made 300 kilowatt.
Yeah.
Stock motor. Obviously full bolt-ons.
Did that last a while?
A year.
Yeah, yeah.
So water methanol injection. So we ran straight meth in a tank. Obviously came in on boost. Was out one night causing trouble as you do. Next morning, let it warm up, gave it a rev and just boom. So snapped piston number 1 completely in half. Bent the rod obviously, double windowed the block. And I was like, well, shit, that sucks. But I knew it was coming, it just wasn't a good time.
Yeah,
and then 3 months later, this went in and it's been onwards and upwards ever since.
Killer.
So,
we'll get it on the dyno a bit later. And
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So it's sort of something different. I'm a fan of anything different.
Yeah,
so
so are we.
A lot of people are like, why did you build like a Mazda 3? And I'm like, oh, why not? It's unique.
The world would be boring if we all drove the same cars.
That's it.
I don't reckon we go 1 week without getting an email from one of our American friends asking what car. They're quite interested in the all-wheel drive Barras. A lot of them think that we convert them to all-wheel drive, but no, they came out in a factory all-wheel drive Ford Territory, just this model only. You can get an all-wheel drive in a later Model 1, but not with the turbo Barra. But they're a bit different to, not quite a performance all-wheel drive system, say like an Evo. They're a little bit prehistoric, because obviously they're in an SUV, but hey, they work well in terms of traction, don't they, Wayne?
Great, mate. Excellent traction, Although when you're making power now in the wet, it can be a handful, so you've got to be careful.
Yeah. But surprisingly, these are actually still fairly cheap to buy. They haven't gone up in value like...
Just starting to now.
It always affects the next model, but
yep.
If you want one, get one now, because probably in a couple of years they're going to be like everything else.
Yeah, no, I'll hang on to this. I'll probably get buried in this, mate. You know?
You've raced this before,
I have plenty of times, since last year during the lockdown. As soon as it's over, I went there, and so just consistent 12.4s now with no way to get out of the hole, so I'm tuned the box to be safe. Box is next. Then it'll be, if I can get out a 1.8 60 footer, I'll be in the mid 11s. And it's not leaning on that motor.
No,
that motor's got all the good gear in it, apart from rods and pistons.
It's just made, what did it make, about 340, 350 kilowatts on the wheel, something like
348, I think was the last one.
In one of these, you could run it at that forever, couldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very. Don't want no more power, that's plenty.
No. Very safe. Like you said in these run a ZF 6-speed. It's a ZF, the 26 transmission.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you just got to upgrade the input shaft, intermediate, so I mean, Aaron at DTM tuned it for me, and he tuned it safe. And he said, look, Wayne, if you want to get out of the hole, he goes, we can do that, but you're not going to last long with that weight.
Yeah.
It's 2,100 kilo.
The driveline stock?
GJ. So it's same as Statis.
Yep.
Tail shaft.
Yep.
And it's got head studs. It's got everything done to it that I can do to try and keep it alive. And
So it looks like you've got a Nispro plenum on there. What turbo you still running?
It's a Kip from ATP, mate.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good old Kip. He looked
Good
after me
old
with the Subi days. So it's got the Kip stage 1 wheel and upgraded, obviously, rear flapper. It's got the Nis Pro intake plenum, which I fitted myself. Also, it's got the Nis Pro 6-speed sump. Just to get a bit more oil. Since it's stock, try and give it a little bit extra oil and keep the cooling. And that's what Aaron at DTM said, that, you know, cooling is a real issue for these ZF boxes. But yeah, look, it's great.
Have you weighed it? I think you said it was...
Yeah, 2,100 kilo with only 2 seats in the car. It's a 7-seater.
Yeah.
So 2,100 kilo, me at 100, and a full tank of juice.
Yeah.
And that was over a proper weighbridge, 2,100 kilos, mate. So.
Yeah. And just recently, one of these, I think in this same colour, ran an 8, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that's right. That's Mrs. car.
That's
through, I think, Staffy up at Independent Motorsport.
Just pretty incredible that you could run an 8 in a territory.
I know.
It's,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to know what's the driveline like now, but you know, to try and get information, you're pretty much going to go spend money.
No, that's fair enough. But no, I just meant it's impressive for a 6-cylinder at that weight, all-wheel drive. That was never designed to do anything like this. So.
Yep.
But no, cool lads. Yeah, hang on to it if you can.
I will be. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So like last time, there's got to be a winner to the fullBOOST Springy Dyno Day, but it's not about power. We're just going to choose, well, it's completely rigged because we're just going to choose whoever we like, really. But not only are they going to get one of Baz's awesome powder-coated 4G trophies, but we've also got some nice product from our sponsors. Now, our friends at CRC here have given us a bit of a prize pack. We've got a whole heap of lubricants in there. Hat, got some Bowden's interior cleaning stuff, and we're also going to throw in, what, Jordo? Surely you brought some fullBOOST merch down. T-shirts and stickers, the old 556. Bee's knees in lubrication. Bit different, D, your supercharged V6. Excuse my ignorance, but did these come with a supercharger?
No. So TMR 380, they made 20 of them from factory. I don't know how I managed to end up with one of the chargers offline. Okay. So it's sort of a factory item, but sort of not. It's a Sprintex charger.
Yeah. So they had an all-wheel drive Magna. Was it in this model?
Yes.
Yes.
So
but
they made
it wasn't supercharged.
Correct.
And then they made a supercharged front-wheel drive. Is that right?
No. Well, they made a supercharged front-wheel drive in the 380, not in the Magna.
Oh, not in the Magna. Okay.
Yeah, spot on.
Okay, but this engine's pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so this engine's out of a 380. This engine didn't come standard in the Magna, and it's running a manual transmission and Evo clutch.
Could you buy a manual in a Magna?
Yes.
You could?
Yeah.
So
they do
these
make
are 3.5?
Yes. So this one, when I bought it, was 4-speed auto, 3.5 litre, like everything was bog stock. Now nothing's bog stock, except the chassis.
Did you plan on doing this or just happened?
No, so I bought this on my green peas when my first Magna needed to go to the tip.
Yep.
Bought it on my green peas maybe 9 years ago. We definitely didn't plan on taking it this direction. We did actually think about turboing it, and then the option came up to supercharge it, so we thought, why not?
Yeah.
And now we're here. And Evo 8 brakes to go with it, because if you're going to pretend that you go fast, you have to pretend that you stop fast. So Jordan here behind the camera, he's the Mitsubishi guy. He's just spotted you've got some, don't have the Magna stopping power on here. No. So Evo 8 brakes and just all-wheel drive Magna brakes on the rear.
Oh yeah.
It was much easier to get Evo front brakes than rear brakes, so we just went bigger in the front and just slightly bigger in the rear. This must drive awesome, like torque. It's fun. Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's awesome, but it's definitely fun. Hey, like it's challenging. If it had an LSD in it, I think it'd be a bit more awesome. Oh, yeah. And a little less. Shit, how am I meant to keep this in a straight line? It does torque steer a bit, does it? Yeah. 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 But it just adds to the fun of it. Have you ever had it on the dyno? No, this is the first. Okay. So I'm hoping for about 200 kilowatts, but we'll see. Awesome. We'll see. If I can get that out of it. What sort of boost are you running? There's no intercooler? No intercooler. I'd like to do an interchiller one day, but that's a future problem. They do work well. Yeah. Paint's the first problem because Magna life. 90s Mitsubishi life, isn't it? Exactly right. Exactly right. Older Mitsubishi, the roof in them's... Yes. But back to your question, we think it's running about 7-8 pounder boost.
Hey?
Oh, this is from Uncle Rico. It's so ugly. I love it. The only thing is, it's a TF, not a TJ.
Magna t-shirt. Andy, your S15.
Yes,
very clean actually.
Thank you.
You don't actually see many nice ones anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I see so many that are just kind of
been ridden off and all that.
Molested or just worn out, or they're worth money now.
Yeah,
like
they
anything.
are.
Yeah.
I just got this 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Before COVID.
Just before it probably spiked.
Yeah.
I mean, you still would have paid.
Yeah, well, I did.
They're pretty desirable though, because they're easily, realistically, it might be controversial, but easily the best S chassis, best looking S chassis they made.
Thank you.
What's done of this? It looks pretty mild.
Nah, it's been tuned since 2012. I haven't touched it at all.
Oh yeah.
Just has intercooler, pod filter, FC.
It's stock turbo, is it?
Yeah, stock turbo.
This is right down the pointer. The pointer has to come out for this car. This is JDM as the car, isn't it? Have you had it on a dyno before?
Nah, this is my first time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what number it's making.
So it's obviously got a bit more boost over the factory.
Yeah, Oh, this is a ADM.
Oh, okay.
200.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does that increase the value of these here?
Yeah.
They would be with the Australian delivered ones. Yeah.
Because it's when I bought on Casa, on the ad it said 1 bar 12 psi.
Oh, 1 bar is a bit more than that, not much, 14 something.
Yeah.
So that's not a factory bar though, is it?
Nah, that's a Vertec body kit.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay, yeah. Good colour though. What wheels are they?
SSRs.
Oh, that's a pretty classic wheel actually. They are like Japanese Simmons. Actually, look, you better not show this. When I did my Yaris video, the lack of centre cap was the #1 talking point. I'm like, really? I hadn't even thought about it, and that was the most important thing. The centre cap.
It has low case as well. When I bought it, it was 113.
Oh, that's nothing.
Now it's like 120 something.
That's nothing. Yeah, the body on this car is clean as.
Yeah.
So that's still factory paint, hasn't been touched?
Nah. Yeah, it's still factory.
Yeah, it looks really nice. We're here with Dale. Now, Dale's brought this awesome Torana down for us to look at. Now, I believe you're going to be running it up at our next dyno day because we probably don't have the right tyres on tonight to run it.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work on the slicks at the moment. No. So we'll come back with some different tyres and we'll have a go.
Yeah, you got plenty of room in here for the turbos, haven't you?
Yeah, there's just a couple of little baby turbos in there. It's not too bad. So
you've run this before, but
yeah, it was up at Holden Nationals. Todd runs a good event up there.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, we had a ball up there, went 880 at 152 on about 14 pounds of boost.
What size is this? 6 litre or?
5.3.
Okay. Oh, it's the old truck engine. They're pretty stout in the States, aren't they? These things.
Yeah, they're plenty of them over there. So.
And is it true some of them are 4.8s?
Yep.
Yeah,
they do 4.8, 5.3, 6 litres, iron block. This is just a run-of-the-mill 5.3 litre from over there. It would come out of a Suburban or a Chev truck or something.
Oh, someone was telling me it's hard to tell the difference unless you pull the...
Oh, we've had this one apart. We've capped up the rings and stuff for boost and all that sort of stuff. They have
so it's pretty stock, is it, internally?
Yeah, internally it's stock bottom end. It's gapped and all that sort of stuff. We've put cam springs in it. Yeah, just sort of keep it nice and simple. Runs a Holly Terminator X.
I guess you don't have to run as much power, do you, in a lighter car and
it's certainly a great help getting down the track. So
have you run it on a dyno before?
Never.
Yeah.
So we just come down here. We found out that they're doing a dyno day, and we're like, right, let's have a go. And then they're like, yeah, the tyres probably aren't the greatest for this. So we've gone, all right, we'll be back.
I guess for you guys, the real dyno is the 400 metre dyno, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've been at the track a couple of times with it, just sort of ironed it out, put some coilovers and stuff like that. It's an old race car. It's been around since the 80s, so...
It looks like an old supergas sort of car, is
it was a SSA car, so it was just an aspirated 400 Chev in it before. and bought it as a roller. And yeah, Jamie gave me a bit of a hand with it. He does all the tuning and turbos and fabbed the kit up with me, and yeah, we've got it to a point where we sort of want to see where it's at.
What year is this?
2000.
Yep.
2009-5 Aero.
Looks pretty good for a 20-plus-year-old car. Factory paint or?
Factory paint. Factory paint. A little bit faded,
Yeah.
but I think it adds to the look of it. Got the baby seat. It's a proper sleeper.
I like the wheels.
Yeah.
Tri-spokes are always a bit funny, but they did a pretty good job on them.
Yeah, the car looks pretty good. Back in the day, these would have looked like a pretty good car. I wouldn't have been able to afford it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I reckon these were. How did you end up with the Saab though? Like,
I'm an Alpha guy, believe it
yeah,
or not.
yeah.
My mechanic work on Alphas. And I've done everything there is to do.
yeah,
And I thought, what's left? Let's go for a Saab.
go for a Saab.
Cheap power.
You know, if you get on car sales and type in turbo, say 150 plus kilowatts, right? The first 5 cars will be Saab.
Yeah. This is factory E85.
Yeah,
Bio
really?
power, so
Yeah.
I can run petrol or E85. Air conditioned seats, heated seats. It's magic.
So these are
Rides like a boat.
These were like a 2.3, were they?
2.3 turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes pretty good.
And is this like some of the older Saabs with a gearbox? Oh no, it's different.
Nah, this is conventional.
This is conventional.
So this one is a 4-speed auto. They come in manual, but it's pretty rare. The later ones come in 5-speed auto.
Mm-hmm.
But the 4-speed auto is really nice because once it gets on boost, it just loads up the turbo and it lifts up the front wheels and it just pulls like a jet. It's pretty good. I'm building another one at the moment as well.
Yeah.
I'm doing a 9000, an earlier one before this, in
Gee,
manual.
That's a big engine mount, sort of.
Yeah. You can see the little turbo there, little TD04.
Yeah.
Similar to what's on a WRX, but
WRX,
bigger. It's
yep.
a TD04 19T.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they float a bit more, didn't they?
Yeah, it's pretty much the biggest of the TD04s you're going to get.
So what power were these rated to, engine-wise, stock?
Standard, they were rated at 169 kilowatt, and then the year after, Saab rated them at 190.
Mm-hmm.
There was no changes. It was just because it was an overboost, from what I understand.
Yeah.
This has got a fair bit more than that. It's all in the standard thing, but it runs about 200 kilowatt the wheels.
The Series 2 always magically ends up with a bunch more power and they do nothing.
Yeah, I know.
This is a 20-year-old car. You can put E85 in it.
It was technically 2002 or something like that, but I've just put the software from the later one.
Yeah.
My tuner has his over here. So yeah,
So it has a flex fuel type sensor in it, does it?
Stock? No, it does it all via the O2 sensor.
Oh wow. Okay.
So the O2 sensor, from what I understand, you tune it on fuel and you tune it on E85, and then it knows what the two.
A lot of the newer cars do that, don't they?
Yep. And it uses the O2 sensor, and even when you fill up, it comes up on the dash, tells you the percentage.
Wow.
All as per factory.
That's awesome.
I mean, what are you going to buy for a couple of grand
I know.
that does that? There's absolutely nothing. So with this, I can see that's air temperature, engine temperature. It's got like an onboard ECU ignition offset. And I'll tell you something else. The little wipers at the front work.
They do work.
Yeah, they never work. They work. So how cool is that?
Probably the most sought after barrow of all time, the FGX Sprint. This is one the Americans think the engines are just piled up at the wrecker sky high, but in actual fact, you're not getting one of these engines. These have a pretty cool, unique carbon intake on them and a very cool factory rocket cover. This is Steve's FGX. This is the rarest of, well, the last of the, it's like the last of the V8s, isn't it?
Oh, kind of, yeah.
Last of the Barras. Actually, I haven't seen one of these engine bays for a couple of years because I think we were saying off air earlier, no one drives these anymore.
They don't, no.
They're just parked on hoists and stuff and on 4-post hoists.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice. So I don't think you're going down to pick apart to get one of these.
No, definitely not. Couple little mods I've done to it. Yeah, built by Springy. Does have a built motor, basic bolt-ons other than that. Standard transmission, standard axles.
So what power are these? Because Ford were very vague with their power figure on this car. They'd quote, it makes this with overboost, but then they're like, you've only got that power for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, and I'm thinking, where are you going to be on full power for more than, you know, when every time they have this overboost figure, it's like, you're never going to hit that on the road, you know?
Correct. I think it was 325.
Yeah, 325.
With 370 overboost.
325 kilowatts.
Kilowatts, yes.
So for Yankee friends, that's about 450 odd horsepower.
Yep. 370 on overboost, but I think it was 10 seconds at a time.
370. I think, in all honesty, I think Ford were very vague because they didn't want on paper this to make more power than the V8.
Probably not. Embarrassing, mate.
But saying that, the V8 version of this Sprint is very nice as well.
Yep.
The supercharged 5 litre. I'd happily take either or. But so yeah, you were saying this is a built engine. You've got all the usual mods. Have you tweaked the turbo at all, or is it?
It is a high flow. Yeah. It's a ProCharge Pro 647.
Yep.
I've had that in there for a little while now.
You've obviously got an exhaust on it.
Yeah, yep. It's all quite well hidden.
Yeah.
I've tried to keep it as standard as possible.
Yeah, 100%.
Basically, you pop the engine bay, you can't tell, hopefully.
And you've just got like a factory flash tune on it? Or?
Yeah, it's PCM Tech.
PCM Tech?
Yeah, it's got the high boost, low boost.
Beautiful. Yeah. So have you run it before on the dyno?
On the dyno, this is where it was run on dyno. Yes, it's been on here. Previously it made 504 kilowatt. So
pretty good power, yeah.
Good power. Still got the factory crossover, airbox. A lot of people go the...
I guess you probably wouldn't want to run too much more power through that transmission, would you?
Probably not.
No.
I'll replace it when it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, nice as. You're gonna obviously want to hang on to this for a while?
Oh, never selling it.
Now, Sean, I thought I was right. I thought it was an Evo 6, but it's an Evo 5, but it's an Evo 6 bar.
That is correct, yep.
So I knew my eyes weren't lying. Now, 3 dyno runs on this car would be a walk in the park, considering it's clearly built for a circuit.
Absolutely.
This is like just doing one gear down a straight, really.
Yeah.
What tracks are you racing it at, or how long have you owned the car doing that?
So I've had it for 7 years now, and we do Sandown and Phillip Island. So Sandown mostly because it's really local.
Yeah, really close.
And Phillip Island when we can.
So it just came off the dyno, what, 278 kilowatts? That's about what it makes, or a bit more? Or?
I thought it would have a 3 in it front of it. So in race mode at the moment, about 300, just over 300 would have been about right. 300
all day long around the circuit is plenty though.
That's what we want. It does 60 laps at Sandown or Phillip Island.
So it's got to be durable as,
Yep.
You're saying off camera just before, this is a freshen up motor.
Yeah, so the crank had a crack in it, and we just put a new crank in it and bearings about 4 weeks ago.
Okay, cool. So it's Link ECU?
Yep.
What turbo?
A GT pump 712.
Oh, like a bolt-on, is that right?
Yep. Yeah, everything bolt-on, hypertune manifold.
What type of power can you get out of that turbo?
I think it's about 300, maybe 320.
But it's responsive like a stock,
it's like 3,000, 322 comes into it.
And you got a lot of heat shielding in here, obviously, because the heat this would create.
Yeah, the cam angle sensor, they just go all the time. And they can throw out, like an $80 part can throw out a whole track day. So...
I think you've upgraded the brakes, haven't you? Are they, no, factory Brembos, are they?
The Calpers, but DBA, bigger discs.
Big semi-slick tyres on it. Now, semi-slick tyres aren't great for the dyno, I must admit. They get hot quick and they kind of don't... Yeah, so you never know. That might be a 20 kilowatts. It's 20 kilowatts missing.
Hope so, but we'll find out.
Now, awesome car. I actually wish I bought one of these back in the day. I keep saying to myself, and now, like anything, priced out of the market. There's a lot of nuggets out there, and they're still charging top dollar for them.
Oh, crazy.
And they look like money pits.
Yeah. So I bought this one really cheap 7 years ago. Now it just keeps going up, and you're kind of going to a point where, should I just put it in a garage and put a sheet over it? But I love it too much. It's too much fun.
These are unreal. This is what this was designed for around a circuit. How cool is this car? Left-hand drive. Left-hand drive Cordia. It's got me confused. I'm looking at a Cordia turbo and Dan's sitting on the wrong side. He must just want to tune it from the passenger seat, but these are pretty special to me. My first turbo car was a AC Cordia, which I had for years. Put some boosts in it, front main intercooler, all the rest. It was a cool car, but you don't see too many in it now. But
so when was that? What year?
I bought that in '96. How do you end up with a US version? That's obviously the elephant in the room.
I looked for an Australian version for about 9 months.
Yeah.
They were all rusted.
Yeah.
Then, when I was a kid, I had a US version, a brochure of these, and I loved it. So I saw on a Facebook group that someone had one for sale. I contacted the guy, and I ended up importing it from Florida.
Yeah. Okay, wow.
This is a Cirrus 4G62.
So engine-wise, Peter, is it much different to the Aussie model, or
no?
Identical.
It's identical.
Yeah. Is this an AC? Is it what you call?
This would be equivalent to an Australian AC, but it's a it's lower spec than the Australian one. It's only 86.5 kilowatts at the flywheel.
Yep.
Where the Australian one, the AC was 90 kilowatts.
Yes, that's right.
So it's to run on the American low-octane fuel.
I think that's the coolest thing about this car is the interior, because they're all pretty much... The AC did have a much nicer interior.
Yes.
But they're all grey. And this is like full 1980s...
porn.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say it, but you did.
Okay. The American version had power windows that the Australian version didn't have.
Yeah, mine was lined up. Yep.
Cruise control.
Oh, cruise control.
And manual sunroofers.
Manual sunroof.
Extra as well.
The shape of the sunroof. One issue, like, how do you go about the spare... I mean, a lot of the spare parts would be transferable, I'm assuming.
They all are.
Yeah.
And I've got a guy who's in Holland that I buy left-hand drive specific parts for, who's got about 8 of these cars.
So you've owned a few of these, haven't you, Cordias?
I owned these back in the 80s. I had 2 of them.
Yep.
I had an AB and then an AC. And I loved them then, and I had my AC for about 20 years.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
And then had a bit of a midlife crisis and bought another one.
Have you still got the other ones?
No, they unfortunately came to a bad end.
Yeah, the only real difference is obviously they have these
American
US cars
bumpers,
will have the bumper bars.
elongated bumpers,
yeah.
And the mouldings are different and the striping's different.
So this, I'm assuming this is all factory stock, or?
This is all factory stock. It's actually running the leaded version computer, injectors and airflow meter.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be, I've been told by the previous owner, running at approximately 10-pound boost, but we'll find that out tonight. It's virtually stock.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a before sort of dyno, because Barry's going to do a bit of work on it.
Oh yeah.
Not too much.
Not too much, yeah.
But a little bit.
Did you get that top custom made?
Almost. It was on a Cordia group. It's very short, and this is actually a 3XL, where I'm really an L to XL, but it's Chinese, the top, so they make things a little bit smaller than normal.
The Cordia, I'll tell you one thing about the Cordia, how cool were the badges back then? They were so futuristic.
Very, showing the picture, the badges, not this one.
You were backing this in, and the lights and this and that, all I had in my head was that Back to the Future music.
It came in a container with a DeLorean, so we were close.
You like the stuff you grew up with, don't you?
I did. That's why I bought another one.
Now, if you've ever seen a Toyota Century, they're generally the cleanest cars you've ever seen, like immaculate. And this one came in, I'm like, it's pretty dirty for a Century. And then I see leaves and all the rest of it. And Ben here tells me it's his daily driver. Like, what is going on? However, in terms of import prices, these, well, I know everything's going up, but these probably are going to start to go sky high now. But they were relatively cheap, weren't they?
Yeah, well, this is one of the first ones in the country. So I got it before they went up.
Yeah.
And so, makes it a lot easier. And this being a later one with a 6-speed auto as well.
Okay. So they had this same shape for like 20 odd years.
Yeah, so 97 to 2017, they followed this shape with the 5-litre. And 05, they went to the 6-speed auto.
Okay.
Before
does this one have a hole in the passenger seat to put your feet through and all that?
Yep.
Yeah. How cool's the interior?
So you can move the seat.
When you're sitting in the back there, Jordan, you can just put your feet through.
Yeah, and then this whole seat reclines.
What year is this one?
This is a 2006.
Oh. I was going to say, it's interesting the type of fabric.
Yeah, it's wool velour.
Oh, it's wool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it looks very sturdy. Like,
yeah.
It's not going to wear out in a hurry.
Yeah, well, the car's done just over 200,000 Ks.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's held up pretty well, considering.
So being a Toyota, is it fairly reliable? Or?
Yeah. Some of the bigger jobs, like plugs and things like that, are a bit of a pain, but other than that, just whack oil and filters on it and away you go.
Yeah.
And you know, with 2 ECUs, even if it decides that it doesn't want to run on a whole bank of cylinders, it'll still use the other 6 to get you home for redundancy.
What do these cars weigh, do you know?
Just over 2 tonnes.
If you don't know what a Century is, it runs a 5-litre V12 engine. Is that engine used in anything else?
No, specific.
Specific for this car?
So, also factory feather duster. Plenty of room, towel holders, and right in front's there, that's where the fuel tank sits on board.
Am I right in Japan, like anyone can't just order this car, yeah?
You have to be selected by Toyota.
Yeah, you have to be selected, yeah.
So the only way you get one of these, if you're not selected, is to just hang out in the used market.
Yeah. Did you buy this as a daily driver, or just ended up like, you did?
Yeah, I bought it as a daily.
Yeah.
I've wanted one for probably 5 years.
Yeah.
And soon as the day they became eligible for import, I went down and I said, I want one, and we found it that day, and within a week I had it.
Yeah. And they've all generally, I know from these cars, they've all usually got lower Ks, haven't they?
Yeah. I specifically went for something that's a bit cheaper with a bit higher Ks because I was just going to run Ks up on it anyway.
Yeah, and anyway.
Well, depending how I drive it. So, you know, you go around town, it's up near 15. On the highway, you're 11, 12.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Yeah, 15 around towns. You'd do that in most LSs, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the corner pole, so you know where the front corner of the car is.
This is like the Booster Boys car. You got like a $25,000 engine in a $500 car.
That's right.
Is this 2 litre or 2.4?
That's 2.4 litre.
2.4.
Yep.
Looks like you got some pretty good gear on it. Borg Warner turbo. So what gearbox is it exactly? A CRV?
This is out of 2006 CRV with the diff.
Are the gear ratios like wrong, or do you have to change that, or is it all CRV?
It's all CRV standard,
CRV.
yeah.
So it's like, what is it, like 4.4 or something? Or
I can't remember. This I've been finished this car since last year. It's like I parked this car up and tried to delete it out of my mind. I gave up.
So what computer system you got on it?
I got Haltech's Elite.
Yep.
I think 2000.
Yep.
And white band, single white band, Haltech dash.
So these in all-wheel drive, they're still like 70% front-wheel drive, aren't they?
Everyone said 70 at the front and 30 at the rear. And we look at the dyno graph and everything we measure, it's like 50-50. But I locked the clutch on the CRV diff because they got factory clutch. So I run with this coupler instead. Yeah, and it's 50-50. So.
Yeah, okay. So it's about ready. When are you going to sell it to fullBOOST?
Whenever you want.
We need a new project car. I reckon this is pretty good because you've spent all the money. We just have to give it a lick of paint.
I gave up on the car, to be honest.
But you've spent all this money and time. You want to enjoy it for a bit.
Yeah, I want to enjoy it for a bit first. Because this is where I start my ground, like off automotive field, of performance stuff.
So you've learnt a lot.
I learned a lot off this car. This car taught me everything that I know of, to be honest.
So CSV, Corsa special vehicles are around what in the mid, they sort of started around the VR.
It's still in business to this day.
He's
still running today. He's building Mustangs and so forth. Whatever customer wants, he builds.
I think you said earlier that you hadn't seen one of these in the whole time you've owned it.
No.
Because I don't think I have.
Pretty casual. I mean, if we call you, feel free to come up. We'll give you a trophy. We'll give you a hug and a kiss.
Best interview? Well, Peter was interviewing me, so mate, that's got to go to you with the Cordia.
Thank you very much.
Careful, mate.
Best interview.
Yeah.
Best interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very good on camera. Most enthusiastic's got to go to you, Dee, for your with your Magna.
Thank you.
It was a coincidence.
Watch the.
It's still wet. Okay.
Pink.
I won't touch it.
Yeah. We didn't choose pink for any reason. We just had a pink texter.
We just had a pink texter.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's all right. And David, I've got something for you here from Bowden's. You got to keep that Saab looking good.
Keep it shiny, huh?
Yeah. You know. And where's Bovey? He's run off.
Where's Bovey?
There he is.
Come on
up, dude. I've got something for you here. You got to keep that Honda.
This is filthiest car.
Filthiest
award.
car. So I thought maybe you got to at least keep the insides going.
Thanks. No, it was actually the fan favourite. So yeah, put on a show. Thanks, Bovey.
Thanks for everyone coming down. Yeah, we'll try and not run another one in May, I'd say. Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it all. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No worries.
Cheers. He wants this top because it's EK Civic green. This is a one-off full boost top, but we can do a straight swap if you want for the car.
TRD.
Was that the Toyota? I get all these cars mixed up.
They're all front-wheel drive supercharged.
Front-wheel drive supercharged.
Shall I tell you figures?
Well, we're going to see.
We'll see.
So.
This is a headache.
Yeah. It's easy to say once you've done it.
D.
Sorry.
Yep. No, that's okay. Don't stress.
How long do you have it for?
I owned that one for 10 years, but I had other cars in between.
I'm doing the interview now.
The stuff you find in the dyno cell, that's your favourite scream. Screamer pipe, just throw this in the rubbish. I've actually been looking, while we're on the subject, I've actually been looking for an ET turbo. Geordie used to have a few of the Pulsars. Wow, how cool is this thing?
V12. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I like. What we're trying to do with these dyno nights is just to get different, the power thing's irrelevant.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Just try and get some cool cars.